that most of you still confused on how to draw a section card. Okay, even a few students come to me and show their section card, but the section card is still not up to the standard of the first year student lah. Okay, so probably because of the understanding of how the section card is all about and how a section card look like. Okay, first of all, I think the first struggle that you still have is to draw a section card line. Okay, this is to recall a section card have in industry we have a few section card what we call format. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 types of section card. Okay, no matter how the section card that you try to draw, okay, which section card that you choose, it's all correct. Okay, I mean, in this particular section card look like lah, section card digital look like. Okay, so if let's say you use this one, it's also correct, but we advise you to use this kind of section card. Nampak ni, the one that show AA and then AA, BB. Okay, something like this. This is over here is quite complicated. Okay, on the left hand side it's quite complicated, so don't use it. Okay, some of it they use this 1, 1. Tapi the problem is, okay, when you cross a section card, you don't know the section card is heading to where. Tak nampak tau dia mengarah ke arah mana. So our advice is to use this section card, the one that show AA, AA and BB. So as simple as that. Okay. Okay, next is the elevation graphic. Okay. Most of you still struggle on how the trees will look like. Okay, so some of you, I think we have found out that you have drawn a very large tree bark, tree trunk, in which is not correct. So in this presentation drawing, you can see how we're supposed to draw a tree in a section. Okay, so you can choose the types of tree graphic based on the look of your tree. Okay, you of course you have search for a tree. If let's say you have bonsai, so you choose which drawing or which graphic suitable for you. Okay, if let's say the tree have a conical shape, you can choose one of these graphic standard. Okay, and if let's say your sketch skill is not that good, okay, you can also use this kind of graphic, a very simple for the first year student. Okay, you can use this kind of graphic. It's very simple. Okay,
the one on
and
the
of
right?
course when you, yes?
The one on the right
Hello,
for the
yes?
simple graphic?
What's the question
Ifa,
again?
they are the same. It's just colored and not colored. That's all.
Yes, a graphic.
They're the
Oh, okay.
same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
We understand that not all students can draw very well. Betul. Okay. Some of you probably your sketch skill is not that good probably. Okay. So although your sketch skill is not that good, it doesn't mean that your thinking, your design thought is not good. It's just that probably your skill of doing the graphic is not that good. Hold on a second. Okay, so if let's say you have a very good skill of doing the hand sketch drawing, you can choose this type of graphic. But if let's say you're not confident and your graphic is not good enough, you can choose this kind of graphic. Okay, this is simple. This is very architectural graphic. And then it will not crowded your section card. Okay, So before you put a color on it, it will look like this, okay, on your right. And when you put a color, it will look it will look like on what you see on your left. Okay, a very simple kind of graphic. Okay, so that is for the graphic elevation or section. Okay, so now next is okay. I can see that some of the students have a struggle to understand how to cut a section. Okay, so can you see the section line? Okay, 1, 2, on your left and on your right. This is the section line. Okay, when you put a section line on plan, you don't have to put the line, the horizontal line all the way. You put right and left and one in the middle pun is sufficient. Okay, macam ni. Okay, the arrowhead means that you are looking towards to the front. If the arrowhead is pointing down, you are looking downward. Okay, you are looking this way lah. I mean the opposite way. Okay, macam yang ini. Okay, for example, for this one, the arrowhead is pointing on top. So it means that the section cut will see whatever you have over here. Apa yang you ada kat sini, okay, you will see. For example, when you put a section cut over here, okay, contohnya okay. Okay, if let's say you have a section cut over here, okay, what you will see is this one. You will see the pond, the lawn, this thing, the sitting and whatever in front of you. Okay, faham? So, okay, take a look at the section on top. Okay, this is how it look like. Okay, the section cut is quite complicated for this example lah. Yours is flat. Okay. For instance, if let's say your apa ni, what we call that, the topography is not that flat, so it will look like this. Okay, nampak tak? Okay, so this is the tree graphic. So what you see is, nampak tak ni? Bila dia potong sini, what you see is the pool. Okay, the pool, and then you see the steps. Nampak ni? Because it look upward. Okay, and then the level is raised up. Okay, and then they have a slope, and this is the planting. This planting represent this. Okay, you have a tree, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 planting of tree, planting of tree. And then you will see the pergola. This is the pergola. Okay, and then you see a cluster of tree. This is the cluster of tree. Okay, this is how we draw. Okay, there are students come to me. Show to me the section cut in a 3D. So in section cut, we don't look it as a 3D. It all flat. Okay, it will look as a flat things. Okay, dia nampak flat, dia tak nampak 3D. So this is how it look like. And at the back here, we have fence. Okay, nampak fence. So do you understand when looking at this section cut and plan? Faham tak? So far.
Yes.
Faham eh? Right. Okay, next. Okay. This is how we draw, just focus on the plan part. Okay, this is how we draw a plan. Okay, and in the plan, okay, I believe that last week Dr. Din already and Dr. Hannah already explained on how the plan should look like. And in the plan, what are the things that we supposed to draw or supposed to have? First, we're supposed to have the scale. Okay, the scale like this. And then when you want to do, or when you want to show the what we call that, the specification of each item or elements, what you have to do is put it nicely over here. Nampak tak susunan dia? Jadi, the handwritten, what we call that, specification. Nampak tak ni? So when it's time for you to arrange the what we call that the specification or the name of each element, arrange it nicely. Nampak tak dia cantik betul-betul. And then the pointing, nampak tak the pointing, you should draw something like this. And I think there are some students come to me and ask if let's say we have a tree on top, can we still see what is below? Do we have to show what is below? And the answer is yes. You have to show what is below. Okay. If not, if you don't show what is below the tree, your plan will be bare, kosong. So nampak tak? It is overlap. It's just that at this time you have to apply the techniques of coloring technique. Okay. For the one on top, color it lightly. Okay, and then overlap with whatever you have below. Okay, this is how we arrange the specification. This is, we call it the lead specification. Okay. All right, next is the section cut. Okay, this is example of section cut. Nampak tak ni? Okay. Whenever you cut across an area, you have to bold the line. Nampak tak? This is the bold line. This is the section cut line. So you have to bold the line like this. Okay. And whatever in front, it have to be color or it have to be sketched using a thick line. Okay. For example, in front here, the tree is right after the section cut line. So we color it nicely with the thick line. Nampak tak? Line ni tebal, the pokok. And it is overlap with whatever you have behind. The what you can see over here is the building is at behind. For example, for instance, if let's say you cut across your park, you cut across your garden, okay, and next to your section cut is a tree, you have to bold it, okay, you have to bold the tree so that we can see, we can differentiate what is in front and what is at the back. Okay, if let's say at the back you have a pergola or shelter, draw it with a thin line. So whatever you draw in a thin line is what is the element that you have at the back. Okay, faham eh? Is there any question so far before we go to the next one? Faham tak how you draw the section cut?
Doctor, if
Yes.
my surface, which is a lantai, is turf, is it I need to thicker the line?
I can't hear you.
If my design is turf or grass, is it I need to thicker my line?
If your design is turf line, it's a grass, okay.
Is it I need to thicker my line?
Do you need to cut a cross section with the thick line? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. If let's say you cut across a hardscape element or walkway, okay, the line is thicker. If let's say you cut across the turf line, the line of a turf is less thick. The line is still thick, but less
thick than walkway.
Less thick,
right?
Less thick is what? No. The less thick is turfing. Walkway paling tebal, the turfing is less. Nipis sikit. Yes. Okay, for example, this one, it cut across what we call that, a hard pave. Okay, so all the way it is thick line. Okay, we will take a look at the next example. Maybe it show how we draw. Okay, for example, this one. Okay. this is a line. Okay, you can also draw like this. This line have what we call that the hard surface. So this semua tanah. So when we have the tanah, tapi over here is actually the retaining wall. Okay, this we supposed to take the line. Macam ni. Okay. Sekejap Okay, you have to draw like this. Actually, the section is quite misleading. Hold a second. Okay, for example, this one is a hard pave up to over here. So take a line. Okay, if let's say you have something like this. Okay, this is the one that I draw is the pavement area. Okay, so it look like this. This will answer your question. Can you see the difference? Okay, okay. If let's say you have walkway over here, the line is thicker. Okay, then the area where we have a grass and also the soil. When you have a natural pond, the line is less thick. Macam ni. Understand? The one that I put the
for
hard,
my understanding,
the thick line. Okay, this one is a hard pave.
Okay.
Is that answer your question?
So is it the grassland is less thicker than the hard pathway, right?
Yeah, yes. If let's say we cut across a walkway, okay, walkway to the bar. If let's say we cut across the the turf is less thick. Okay, turf tu kurang thick. Kalau yang hard pave thicker.
Understand. Thank you, doctor.
Kalau hard surface, if let's say we have
Faham. Thank you, doctor.
Okay, this is more detail, but we don't expect you to do as detailed as this. Okay, nampak tak? This is the different way of doing the section lah. This is advanced. This is if let's say you go to the second year. Second year, we will request for you to do like this lah. Nampak? But the point is, nampak tak this one? This is the grass area and this is the hard pave area. Okay, the one that you see, the vehicular, the car and so on is the hard pave area. So the hard pave area, you can also do like this. You can, this is another way how to draw a section cut line. You draw a very thick line, one thick line all along the way. Okay. Okay, do something like this, tebal, small line, satu tebal. And then what you can do next is you add another layer dekat bawah. So this one is also accepted. This is another technique of using or to show the thickness of the layer. Nampak tebal dia. So this is from here, okay, to here is the hard pave. But over here is the turfing area or the soil area. So we just do one line, something like this. This is another kind of section cut. So whatever at the back, okay, just imagine this section is using the manual sketch. Whatever at the back, you make it thin. Okay, whatever in front, next to your section cut, make it thick, tebal. And then when you and then what you have to have in the section cut is the dimension. Dalam ni is quite blur, tapi you have to do the dimension. This dimension showing the size of the area, okay, and the name of the area. For example, this is parking, so we write here parking. What is the width? Okay, and then what is this? the planting area. So we put the planting area PLTG. Okay, you cannot see because the picture is very blur. Okay, but what we have over here is the scale and also the area. Okay, this is for example mount, the mount and the planting area. So on top you put a mount of planting area, and then what is the width. Okay, 2 items that you need to show. Okay, over here what you have is the name of each element. Okay, tarik cantik-cantik and then put it, arrange it nicely, something like this. Okay.
Ada student nak tanya
you
soalan
do
tu,
a graphic.
Ada student yang soalan.
Ada soalan tak?
Meng Hui, Kok?
I have a question. Madam, I want to ask just now because Madam said that for the turf, we need to draw a thinner line compared
Yes.
with the hard floor, right? Then for the turf,
I cannot hear you.
For the turf, for the grass lawn, do I need to add some glass on the line?
Graphic, is it?
Grass graphic, I mean. Yeah, the grass graphic.
You can. Yes, you can. For example, if let's say this is a grassy area, you can put so-called like a spine things to show that it's a grass area. Or if let's say you don't want to put, it's still okay. You put the color line.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I
If
get
let's say
it,
you have a stone or something over here at the back there, you have to draw, but in a very thin line.
Okay. Thank you, Madam.
Okay, the next example is, okay, this one. See, these 3 examples I show to you, you can choose. Okay, I show to you 3 examples of section card. You can choose which graphic you like to use. Okay, for example, this one, a section card, you can also do like this. Okay, a thick line below, and on top is we have another line. Macam ni pun boleh. Okay, but this one, a cross section along the way is the hard pave. Okay, dia tak potong dekat softscape area. So whenever you have a hard pave, you have to have some sort, like you can do either a very thick line all the way, or you can do like this. Okay, you have another top layer with a thin line. So whichever graphic that you choose is still correct. Okay, semua betul. But don't do a single line all the way. Kalau kita ada ni, sebab most of you draw a single line all the way. When we draw a single line, it means that it is filled with turf or a ground only. So the best thing is to do a thick line or to do a double line. Okay, and then don't forget to spec or put the lid, okay, show what are the items all about. For example, this is a road, then you have to mark, doing something like this, showing this is a road, name it, each item. Okay, so any question so far? This is how I will share this simple presentation in the group later on for you to refer. Okay, so is there any question? And in section, don't forget to put the what we call that a name of each area, and you can put a name below or on top, mana-mana pun boleh. For example, like this, okay, you can put it on below. But if you do it like this, we also accept, but it is not neat. Okay, dia tak berapa kemas. We advise you to do something like this. Tarik line, okay, you do a line, something like this, a vertical line, and then put the name of each area. Okay, kalau nak kemas lagi, you can do something like this. Okay, it's a graphic thing.
Betul.
Sini pun boleh.
Alif.
Okay, is there any question?
Me. Alif. Beside using
Yes.
colours, how to determine there's water in there.
Mm-hmm.
Macam example for the pond, how to determine
Again,
there is water.
your question?
You hear me? Okay, I will write in the chat box. I will write in
Yeah,
the chat
yeah,
box.
yeah. Mm-hmm. What's the question again?
Alright. Beside using colours, how to determine
Mm-hmm.
there's water in there? The water element.
Depth of the water.
Dia punya surface tu sikit buat ombak rindu punya style.
Okay, I think for this exercise, is it requiring we can do a shades? Yang tu saya tak tunjuk lagi.
Oh.
Okay, if let's say,
Like
for example, you have a pond over here kan? Lepas tu ada air bawah ni kan? Okay, we have a water. Normally we color it blue only. One color of blue, one tone of blue color. But if let's say we want to show a depth of the tree, of the what we call that, the water, the below part tu dia boleh gelap sikit. You can put it macam gelap sikit. Later on, I will show to you a sample of a section card with what we call the a pond yang ada depth. Nanti tunjuk. But your question is referring to the section or the plan?
To the section.
To the section. Okay, for the section, normally kita tak over sangat dalam colouring. Okay, just do the one tone of the colour pun cukup. For example, ini air Okay, buat macam ni je. What you can do is only to color this like this.
Beside colouring it, how to determine it using the black and white colours? Means by using the pen or only the pen?
Maksudnya kalau kita buat black and white, macam mana nak tu?
Specific shape. Yes. Macam dia specific shapes or making wave
Specific shape? Tak faham soalan.
Saya rasa jadi Ashikin, I think what he meant, bila draft section kan, dalam section, macam mana kita nak tunjukkan air selain pada warna biru. Tapi saya tengok banyak student because of graphic punya language, dia buatkan air tu kocak-kocak sikit bahagian surface atas tu, itu saja. Berkocak-kocak air kan.
Okay. Faham. Macam tu lah.
Yalah, walaupun air tu sebenarnya berkocak sebenarnya apa kan, tapi
nak tunjukkan air tu yang tu ripple tu.
Ripple sikit je.
Okay, but normally in section card we don't exaggerate the graphic lah. Kita buat biasa-biasa saja. Okay.
Janganlah buat ombak lah ya. Jangan buat ombak.
Tak ombak. So normally in plan we show. Okay. I did give some of the plan to the group, I think, the example of the plan. Okay, you can actually do the water without the ripple or with the ripple. Kalau ada ripple tu lagi cantik lah. Boleh ni. Nanti I show to you some of the samples so that you can refer. So that the plan that you produce is cantik sikit. Tapi kalau if let's say the student, kalau tak berani nak colour, you can colour plain, something like this. Okay. As long as we can differentiate which one is walkway, which one is pavement, which one is trees. Okay, colour simple pun boleh. Asalkan the one that you the design that you try to show to us is clear. Nampak tak? Daripada you buat semak-semak and then tak apa nampak dia punya material. And then in plan also, kita out sikit daripada section. Okay, you can also show the types of finishes, okay, whether it is natural look, something like this, or the pattern like this, okay, ataupun the pattern is actually pakai pebble wash, nampak clear macam ni saja. So it's up to you. But we can see the difference between one area to another. Nampak tak dalam ni dia ada section card, kan? Jadi section card tu dia potong dekat sini. Okay, dia ada kecil-kecil ni section card ni. Okay, C, D, B. But the section card is tak habis tau. Dia buat separuh-separuh. Boleh juga. But that one is another nantilah. Sekarang kita nak simple dulu, takut pening. Kita buat section card, cross section from end to end. Senang sikit. Later, semester depan nanti kita cuba section card yang separuh-separuh macam ni. Okay, any other questions student before we go to Encik Din next.
Chan, ada
Doctor,
soalan?
yes, I have a question.
Yes.
I refer to the, I think it's the 5th slide. With there's the slide is with master plan and the section.
This one, is it?
Oh yes, this one.
Mhm.
I refer to this master plan, and let's say I have a river or stream at the top
Okay.
right end until the end of the left end, which how to say, so it's a continuous element along the plan. So how
Yes.
do I draw it on my section plan? Is it all along from the top to the end?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you clearly. The voice is breaking.
Oh,
Boleh repeat tak? Can you repeat again?
okay. So let's say I have a river or stream.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? At the right end
If let's say you have a river or stream, okay.
until the left end.
Okay.
So how do I draw it on my section plan? Because
Okay.
if I draw
It's depend on where do you cut the section. Okay. If you cut a section of a river all the way from right to the left, what you see is the river section cut. But please challenge your creativity. Okay. Don't cut a section at the river itself lah. River tu takkan tegak kan? Dia mesti ada belok-belok, or the river is straight. It's depend on how the river look like and where do you cut the section. Okay, for example yang ni, this section it cuts cross sini kan. Okay, if let's say you have a river, all the way tegak sini, so what you can see is the river all the way lah. Something like that. So in your design you have river, is it?
yes. Yes.
So Chan, your question, I think we are not quite sure actually what is the issue here. Are you talking
Yes.
about how to draw the section in terms of the thickness of the lines? Or is it how to represent a river in a section graphically?
How to represent river in the section drawing?
Itu soalan dia. In a section. It's not whether the river is meandering bengkang-bengkok or is straight, isn't it? Because if it's a
Okay,
straight
your
river,
question is referring
then
to
the section is a bit simple. It's very
thickness
simple,
of
but
the
if
line
it's
or how?
meandering, that can be a bit complex.
And is it the section cut across the river? And how the river look like? We really need to see the plan lah, macam mana, how does it look like, so that we can comment accordingly. But if let's say you cut across the river, the line is not as thick as the hard pave, macam tu. Okay, for instance, you can see the difference between these two. Okay, this is a soil. Okay, you see the difference. This is double line. Okay, over here we have a double line. Okay, the section cut pun tak berapa nampak sangat. Okay, this is double line. But over here is single line. If let's say a river, something like this, okay. If you your question is referring to the thickness of the line of a river, it have to be single color with thick, less thick line lah. Okay, for this one, what we call that a pool, you have to draw a thick line or a semi-thick line with a double line. Boleh juga. So your question is referring to the thickness of the river or how to draw in terms of the section cut ke macam mana ke?
How to draw? Because since the river is along from the front until the end, right? So in a section drawing, because it's a 2D plan, so do I have to like draw the river all along from the top to the end. But it seems like the
Oh, I really need
button
to see
is
your
floating.
plan. Probably later on you
Go
can
to
come to me
Miro,
and
go to Miro.
WhatsApp me. Go to
Okay,
Miro.
I'll go to the Miro kan? Boleh tak? Can we go to your Miro tak?
Boleh? So I stop
You
sharing.
mean now?
Can we go to your Miro now? Yes.
Oh.
So that everyone also can learn, not just your.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So which frame are you in?
Or you can project your Miro here.
At your workplace. At your workplace, and a moment.
Can somebody share the Miro link? Chat box.
So Chan, which workplace are you in?
Is in your workplace.
Okay, frame.
Frame, first row, the third one. A moment.
First row, third one. So frame 3. Sorry, not frame 3.
I think it's frame 3.
Frame 3. Okay.
Do you guys get the link? Oh, okay, someone share. Okay.
Oh, you asked me this question, didn't you?
Yes. And then
remember
I
this.
was a bit blur.
Okay, no worries.
Trying
So
to,
give me an example. Give me which section is it where you've cut straight along the river across section AA?
2 section because
Okay, section. So the thick line at the bottom is the line of the bottom of the river, isn't it? Is that what you mean?
whoa, a moment, too fast.
That seems to be a funny looking bottom
Okay.
for a man-made river. Where is your plan? Nampak pelik sikit sini kan?
Okay. Because okay, I'll show you guys.
Oh, this is your river. Okay, I see your
Yes.
plan. Oh, okay. All right.
It's all along from the top to the end. So
Yeah, but you see your river in your section AA is part earth, part river, and then part earth again, isn't it?
yes.
It's not entirely river.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm not sure how to represent it in my section drawing.
Sikit.
Because it seems like my garden is floating.
Yeah.
in the river.
Now I understand. I understand your what you meant by floating. Because I was trying to figure out what you meant when it's floating. Tapi why have your section line, the thick line, and section A? It's not a straight line. Why is it like that?
It shows this part is the deepest of
Okay. Right.
all along here, and this is the shallowest part of.
But if just logic. Minta maaf siapa ni Shikin ya? Shikin. Halo Shikin. Minta maaf saya cuba ya. Minta maaf ya. So now okay, Chan, if you look at section AA,
I cannot access Miro. I just can see.
Right.
Okay. To ensure
Oh,
that
I see.
your section cut is correct. Mana? Hello.
So what is this Chan? What is this?
Where
Is
is
that
it?
is that steps into the
Garden.
the garden?
Yes.
You
it's
see,
going
okay.
down.
So if you're looking at section AA, that means that is on the left hand side, isn't it?
It's on.
AA, right? Isn't it left hand side, isn't it? Right, the steps, which is this one here, isn't it? Right.
Yes.
Right.
Eh?
But look on the right hand side. Look at the right hand
Section
side.
A,
That should not be a river, isn't it? It's earth, isn't it? Up to here. This one here. This part here.
So your section cut is looking downward, is it?
Downward. You see this part here, this is earth, isn't it? Where your section is.
So on your right, so on your left
Ini
to
betul lah
be
ni.
the entrance,
Ini
kan?
betul lah ni.
So it will be opposite mirror.
Kan? Tapi but here, because you're looking from this side here, from that side, so this is your right hand side, isn't it? Isn't it, Chan?
I don't quite understand.
No, because you're looking from this side, isn't it? Because this is looking down, isn't it? Your AA. You're looking down, isn't it? So you're standing here, isn't it? Here, sorry.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So this is your right hand side, isn't it? This part here,
Yes.
right? Which is this one here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. But you see, but the funny thing, this is Earth. What is line for?
The
Yeah.
earth area.
The Earth area is up to more or less until here,
Yes,
isn't
yes.
it?
Yes. Because you're looking downward.
So what you don't see line there?
Not
Yeah,
quite.
So looking here.
And then you can see after
Oh, okay. I kind of understand now.
earth
Okay,
area, what
okay,
you can see is the
Right. So you see, first, okay, this
Understand?
part here
okay.
is Earth, isn't it? And then this part here and until here is water, isn't it? Water here, and you're cutting through the bridge, isn't it? There should be a bridge there, isn't it? Then Earth again, all the way,
This is
all the way is Earth. So in other words, this all should be Earth.
Below the bridge. Yes. Yes.
Below the bridge is all where the water is, isn't it?
And the rest will be the pavement and the earth.
Yeah.
I'm trying to digest a moment. Okay, I understand this part. So it comes here.
Okay. Actually,
Yeah. Okay, I'll explain this into you slowly. Okay, everyone listen to this. Because this is challenging, a bit awkward, but because me and Madam Shiki have done so many complex exercises before, so we can figure. Okay, you're looking from this side. Okay, can you see my arrow now? The arrow here. Okay. All right. Okay, I draw a thick line. So you're standing here, isn't it? You're standing here. Right. So you're looking that way, isn't it? True. Okay. Chan? All right.
Yes.
So this part here is Earth, isn't it? Where the section line is. Hang on.
I think, Dr. Din, what if we rotate the plan first? Then it will be easy for us to understand. The plan can be rotated.
Rotate the land.
Boleh tak? Yalah, because it looking downward,
Boleh
Yes,
juga, boleh
yes,
juga.
can
If you
rotate,
can rotate the plan.
Yeah, I try.
so we have to rotate the plan.
But even if you don't rotate the plan, it's constant. Actually, you're standing here. Okay,
Yes.
done. Where my big arrow here now. Right. So this is your right hand side,
Yes.
isn't it? This part here. Right. So what's on your right hand side up till here? If you see the right line, section line here, this is up till here. This is Earth, isn't it? Right. This is Earth. So this one should be Earth, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Until this point here, and until this point here is water,
Yes.
isn't it? Isn't it? So
Yes.
right. So
understand.
let's say for example, let's say this is 2 meter. So you put the line, stop there, and this is what 2 meter, right? And then this is water. This is water, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
And after that, what is that? What you have all the way straight to the entrance? Is Earth, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Then
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
right. So then this all should be Earth, straight line. And you should not have
Yes.
this line here. Understand?
Yes.
And
understand.
then your garden
Understand.
doesn't seem to be floating.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I understand. Because I was a bit confused, like when I thought by drawing these two A arrow, so it's just a way for me to look at the
No.
look at the
It's a
area
straight line. There's a
that
straight
I'm
line. There's a straight line
inside.
cutting through that way.
Okay, I understand. Okay,
Right?
so
Okay.
so for the section BB, I'll just
Sorry. So before you so in other words, because you're cutting through the bridge, isn't it? This part is the bridge, isn't it?
yes, it's also
Right. So there's a bridge. There's a thick line for the bridge, isn't it? Like that.
The bridge is over here.
No, here. Over the water. This is a bridge, isn't it?
Which one?
Yeah, this one here, where I'm drawing now, here. That's a bridge, isn't it?
It's decking.
Decking, okay. If it's, decking, whatever it is, but it's crossing the river,
It's a
isn't it?
decking.
Decking, so it's the same thing.
Whatever it is, we
So
call it bridge lah
no.
because it goes
Yeah.
under the pond.
Over the pond, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Over the river, isn't it? So it's, it should look like that, like that.
Okay.
No, it's a simple thing. Imagine you're cutting this big plan like a cake, just cut through the thing.
Yes,
and
it's a cake.
Yes. Kita selalu kita gunakan itu analogy itu kan. Apa ni? No, it's just imagine that this is your side, right? Your side, this is the thickness,
cake.
this is the earth, right? Right? And then just cut it through like that. This is A. And whatever you see from this side here is what you draw them. If your river is flowing like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this part is earth, isn't it? This part is earth,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
This part here is earth. This part here is earth, isn't it? And this part here is water, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this part here is water, right? And if there's a deck or thing that cuts through it, so that means you're cutting through the deck, isn't it? And that's what it is,
Okay.
right? And whatever is behind that, as Madam Shikin mentioned, is you draw them in elevation, whatever,
Okay.
trees, whatever.
Okay.
That's all. It's imagine you're cutting a cake through. It's a very simple, common sense way of looking at things. The harder the material, the thicker the line. Whatever they cut through, thick lines. Whatever they don't cut through, lighter lines or thinner lines. That's all.
Okay. Understand.
Habis you may drawing saya jonting.
So at my section BB, I'll just terbalik only lah.
Terbalik.
Yes. When
Terbalik.
when
No,
when you
this is-
start, may I know how do you start doing your section cut?
Sorry?
May I know how? What is the technique that you do your section cut? Are you project it from your plan or how?
Rasa tak tu dia kata.
Or you
tak
just
boleh.
measure?
Yeah, you just measure je.
I'm not
Okay,
sure. I
boleh.
just put my side plan on the top and my section plan.
Dia buat macam tu je.
below.
Dia
All the
apa?
line.
Below. Betul lah.
Betul, cara
You
dia
use
tak-
the same
betul
plan
tak?
kan, and
Cara
then you
dia tak.
tarik kan.
Yes.
Boleh juga. That is
See,
the
with
simple
session
way
BB,
lah.
what Madam Shiki is trying to imply is that with session BB, it's easy to do that. Then you just draw a line here like that, right? Like that,
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Just project it that way, isn't it?
Yes.
But with
Yes,
session
yes,
A, you
yes,
cannot
betul,
do that, isn't it?
betul,
Because it's looking the other way around,
You
isn't
have
it?
to rotate. You have to rotate.
the drawing.
Yes, I rotate.
Ah.
Also, I can
As
just
simple as that.
so I don't have to rotate the paper
no,
because I
well,
rotate just one.
Yeah, you can rotate. There's so many techniques. Some people if they have a like a butter paper, they just put it on top of it. For example, they
Yes.
just, or some people they have to rotate the drawing, whatever. But the main thing, the common
Yes.
sense that you must know what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
So in other words, so just to close off the conversation. So this section line is not right, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
it's not right.
That's all. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Understand.
All right.
Super
Okay.
clear.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Oh.
Okay, I think I finished mine.
Okay, guys. Ni aku 3 dah ni. I got about 2 or 3 lecture to give very very quickly ni. To talk about. Okay, guys. Any last question for Madam Shikin? No one has raised his hand. Okay. Alright. Okay, Shikin. Thanks, Shikin.
They understand.
I think hopefully.
Yes.
Oh, tak understand siap lama langkang. Ada lama apa tu kan. Okay, guys. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to take over from Madam Shikin. to talk to you about so-called perspective drawing. Okay, let me
Yep.
share a window with you. This one here. All right, can you see it now, everyone?
Yes.
Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, before we start, I and Dr. Hannah, without the presence of Madam Sikit, because she has to leave early a bit this morning, we have decided that we are not going to request you to do your isometric because of the time factor, right? But we'll do the isometric drawing in your next project.
So for this project, we don't do the.
No, you don't do isometric drawing. No need. Only for your next project because the time factor. You only got 1 week to finish this work here. Okay, everyone understand that? Even though in the handout brief it says there's an isometric drawing requirement, isn't that? But in this case we decided not to. Just focus on the perspective drawing. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway. So I want to go very quickly about this one here. I don't want to go into too much technical detail about these things here, but just basically the concept of it, of what perspective drawing is all about, and how you should be doing it. You know, how to make it, and what kind of spaces that you need to refer to when you do a perspective drawing. So some people, they have very good sketch technique. But they've chosen a part of the garden which doesn't actually. It's a good representation of the idea of the concept or the creativity of the students. We don't want that, right? So, but we'll talk about that later on. So today I'm going to talk to you very briefly about the perspective drawing. Okay. So this is an impression or actual image of a perspective drawing, right? So if you can see here, basically, all this red. Apa dipanggil ni? Bukan apa ni? Panggil apa ni? Sigin? Bukan umbrella ni. Apa ni panggil ni? Allah.
Canopy.
Bukan canopy.
Overhang.
Bukan overhang. Anyway, we just call it umbrella. This big umbrella here, this small shelter here, they are all the same size, isn't it? They all are the same size. But as you go further and further away from let's say you're standing here, the shelter, the umbrella gets smaller and smaller, isn't it? Everyone.
Yes.
So that's the basic concept. As you go further away, the umbrella looks smaller. This is what we call, this is what we call visual deception. Because if you measure it with a scale rule, you see how come the umbrella at the back is only 2 meters, the one in front is 3 meters. But they all are 3 meters high, 3 meters in size or diameter. This is what we call perspective deception, or depth perception, or illusion. Illusion, not deception, but illusion. Okay, so that's the basic concept. Anything that's further away from you is smaller, right? If for example, they are of the same size material. Okay, and then whatever is closer to you is clearer, and whatever is further away from you lets a bit blurrer. Okay, that's all. Okay. Now this is another example of that as well, right? Okay, this is what we call a one-point perspective, right? In other words, there is a point somewhere in the middle that you refer to when you want to draw this perspective. But don't worry what it means now. I'll explain this to you later on, right? But this is a picture shown from a perspective point of view. Let me you're standing here. Even the buildings here, for example, even though they are big, but the further they are from you, they seem to be quite small. But you're standing right at the bottom of this actual building. You know the building. Wow, it's so high. But from this point of view, the tower doesn't look that tall, isn't it? From the perspective point of view. All right. So this is the illusion you get when you draw perspective. Okay. So this is the illusion of depth, for example. Like for example, X and X here, for example. Let's say the size of your paving pattern or your paving material is X in size, for example. But from where you're standing here, this could be the actual size that you see. But way further from that, even though it's supposed to be at the same size, but it looks smaller. Because why you're standing here? So anything that's further away, it looks smaller. But in reality, they are the same size, right? But because you're looking from a perspective point of view, because the illusion of depth, this one looks a bit smaller than than this one here. Okay, everyone? All right?
Right.
Yes, yes.
So I'm not going to talk about isometric because this is not what you're going to be looking at. What we'll be looking at, these are the various types of isometric drawing, dimetric, trimetric, isometric. We'll talk about this when you come for your next project. But this is a perspective drawing, the technique. This is what we call a 2-point perspective. In other words, when you have an empty piece of paper here, you can draw an object here, but from 2-point perspective. This is 1 point, right? This is what we call the left visual point, vanishing point rather. This is RVP, the right vanishing point. Vanishing point is where there's a perspective point that you show behind the space or the object you want to draw. 2-point perspective, right? So which means you can still. One thing about 2-point perspective, you can see two sides of the image of the space or the object. So one from the left, one from the hand side. But this is not going to something that you're going to do for this small project, because normally for 2-point perspective, when you got big spaces, or you got big architectural spaces, then you normally people resort to 2-point perspective. But in your case, because it's a small garden, we don't usually not advisable to do for a 2-point perspective, because it doesn't make that sense. Doesn't make sense. You only concentrate on 1-point perspective, right? So here, for example, a 1-point perspective here is like that. This is 1 point here. You're standing here, right? This is the viewpoint, right? This viewpoint is what we call the eye level point, eye level, right? And this one here, this square that you see here is called the picture plane. It's like a frame. When you take a picture, for example, in your camera, you can see a frame. So this is the frame. This is the frame, right? You call this the picture plane. Okay, so just remember this thing: the viewpoint and also the picture plane. Don't bother about this image plane. I don't want to confuse you with that. But just remember this one here, right? This is an example of 1-point perspective. That means there's 1 point there. You see, before this one here, you have 2 points at the back here, but here you have only 1 point. 1 point, right? So from this point, you can draw lines to create perspective. Yeah, so this is 1 point here at the back, this 1 point at the back. This is what we call the vanishing point or the vanishing perspective point here at the back here. How to determine that? I'll explain that to you later afterwards, right? So this, to me, the kind of perspective that you should be doing for your project is like this, a 1-point perspective. So the point of perspective, 1-point perspective is somewhere at the back here, at the back here. Okay. Now, how do you determine the position of this point here, right? Imagine that you are standing here. Where this point here is where your head is or your eye is, and the rest of it is your body. This is what we call the eye level, right? This is the eye level. But if I draw a line, I cannot draw this on PowerPoint, right? Okay, can you see where my cursor is showing the vanishing point, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So if I draw a line from left to right across that vanishing point, like that is called the eye level. That means you're looking at it from your own eye level. Okay? Everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, you did.
Yes.
This is another also point here. So if here, this is one vanishing point. So I imagine that I'm standing here. So if I draw a person here, this will be his head, this will be his body, and this will be his feet. Sorry, this will be his feet here. So that's the eye level. This eye level, right? No matter where the person is along this perspective, the eye level will always remain the same. So if I take this is the eye level, I draw a straight line from left to right, right? That's the eye level of this particular perspective. If I'm able to draw this, manually online, then you'll be able to know this. Madam Shiki is the expert on with this 1-point perspective. Very good. I only know the technical aspects of it, right? So I've talked about this 2-point perspective, which I'm not going to bother to talk about, right? This is a 2-point perspective. One this side here, from this point here, and one on the other side. So there's one point here at the back here, and one point here on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, right? But with 2-point perspective, I'm talking if you have big spaces, some people will do a 2-point perspective. But small spaces like you, for example, just concentrate on 1-point perspective. It's much simpler to work with, right? And this one is a 2-point perspective. You can show, you can show a lot with 2-point perspective. One on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side, right? So this is an example of various points perspective. This is 1 point, this is 2 point, and this is 3 point. 3 point means from the top also, not only from the left and the right, but also from the top. When you got very tall building, we are so close to a very tall building, you want to show the perspective of that building, you can have 3-point perspective, but that's very complex, right? 2 is quite complex already, but let alone 3, right? So that's why for landscape, small spaces, 1-point perspective is enough already. Very simple to work with, right? You can see the lines here, right?
Yes.
So go to figure 4. Go to figure 4, everyone. Figure 4 here at the bottom. You see that blue line that cuts across the picture? That blue line?
Yes.
That is the eye level. That is the eye level point. Eye level. Okay?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I've talked too much about this already. Okay. Here you can see here, horizontal line vanishing point. So this is the eye level. You draw a line across that eye level. This is the vanishing point. This is also the eye level. Okay, you can see here the vanishing point, right? And these lines here are where if you want to draw a tall tree, just draw a line like this. Draw a straight line from the vanishing point. Draw straight up and draw the trees according to the height that this line determines. So if you draw the straight line further up, then the tree is much taller than the one that's shown here. Right? Just project the lines from the center, from this vanishing point. Right? But the trick actually is trying to determine that vanishing point. Because if the vanishing point is not properly done, sometimes when you show the shelter, for example, people tend to show the shelter that you're looking from the top, when the shelter actually is higher than you. But how can you see the top of the shelter? Isn't it? That means you're almost 15 or 20 feet tall. That's right. So when you draw a perspective, make sure that it's an indication that you're only about about 1.2 meters or 1.3 meters, for example, or 1.7 meters, depending on how tall you are. Make sure it makes sense, because the eye level is indication of the height of the people there, right? If you select a very poor vanishing point, then the perspective looks a bit silly, especially when you can see the top of the building or top of the shelter from the top. That means you are almost 20 feet tall. That's wrong, right? Like for example here, yeah. Perspective points to remember, if in actual fact, when 3 things are on the same line, they are the same shape. But when you put them a bit further apart, behind them, it looks like this. The closer it is, the actual size, it looks a lot lesser if it's pushed one element further back, or even further back, so the thing looks smaller. But in actual fact, they are all the same size, isn't it? Here, right? They are all the same size, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. But when you draw perspective, they can look different size. This is what we call the illusion of depth. And if you color it, for example, if you start coloring, for example, the one here, for example, yeah, this one can look, let's say here, white, and then further away can be a bit darker, and further away can be very dark. Or it can also be the other way around. The one that's closer to you can be very dark. The one that's the next to you can be less darker, and the one that behind you can be even less darker, for example. It's all about using varying shades of the same color, right? So it's giving you the illusion of depth. The size the size alone can give you the illusion of depth. Even thickness of line also can give you the illusion of depth, right? Colors also can give you the illusion of depth, right? Okay. So here perspective means overlapping an object in front of another creates an illusion. Sometimes when you do something like this, when you have one overlapping in the other, for example here, right? and here, and then you got a wall here, and then there's another tree behind it. There's another tree behind this wall here. That means it gives you an illusion that there's something is moving towards the back, the eye. Right? That means there's a point of perspective somewhere here in the middle here. Right? Also, you can do that. That means that in our is that there's a kind of layering effect. The first line of tree here, there's one layer. There's another layer. There's another layer of trees. That the illusion of layering also can give you the sense of depth as well. Okay. Same thing with here as well. Right. So this is what I meant just now. If you have a paving like that, right? Even in reality, all this paving have the same size, but we're looking from a perspective point of view. The size decrease as you get away from your side, right? To a point that you tend to lose sight of the pattern of the paving, right? But if you bring it closer to you, the pattern becomes closer and clearer to you, right? And this is the actual size of the paving. It's the first line here. But as your vision gets away from you, little by little, the paving size becomes smaller and smaller and smaller gradually. Visually, I'm talking about visually. The size doesn't change, of course. Visually, it changes gradually, right? Some people, they rely upon some kind of tool, a paper. You can get this, I think in stationery shop. They call it a perspective grid. You want to draw this. So you can buy this. You can buy this, I think, to help you to draw perspective. You see, this is the vanishing point, right? And this is the front page. So this line here, this square here, yeah, is your picture plane. It's like your camera, the frame of your camera, or in this case, the frame of the edges of your paper, right? Like this. You can do that. So this is your eye level, all across. For a you can also have something which comes with a 2-point perspective grid. Also, you can do that, right? 2-point perspective. Okay, so that's the basic principle of what a point perspective is all about. But to me, focus only at 1-point perspective. Don't worry about the 2-point. Don't worry about the 3-point. Just on the 1-point perspective. So, but when you do a perspective, what is it? The first thing that you must try to identify is what do you notice the most? What is it that you want to show most in your plan, in your design? What is it that you want to show most? Irfan.
Yes.
What is it that you want to show most in your design?
The bridge.
The bridge, okay. Ariana?
Yeah, the pool.
Okay, the pool. Ariana, what do you want to show most?
The shelter.
The shelter. Oh, okay, never mind, shelter, never mind. The what?
Or maybe the waterfall.
The waterfall, okay. Some people want to show the pergola, and some people want to show, or anything which is unique to you that you want to show, that which can represent, very, very strongly your creativity, your concept, your idea, the beauty, the aesthetic, the identity, the character of the design. Whatever it is, you decide. We don't know. You decide. So you should be able to decide which one is the best one. Of course, we're not talking just simply one. A few places, isn't it, on the site itself, right? So what do you want? So you can either show an element, like for example, like someone was saying, this is the bridge or the shelter, for example, right? But that is just showing the element. That's not showing the space, isn't it? True?
Yes.
Right. So, But for landscape, what is most important actually is the space or the place. In other words, when you want to show the shelter, you must also show the surrounding areas around the shelter. If you want to show the bridge, also show the water, the footpath, some shrubs or trees around or along the bridge or along the water channel or the river, or whatever it is. Don't show the element alone, but show the other elements to combine, hardscape and softscape, so that you can create a space and a place. Because in perspective, we want to show space and places, not just simply the item. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Because I know many students, when they draw perspective, they just show the shelter, which is boring because it doesn't show the space or place. It just shows an element. Okay. So for our work, we need to be focusing on spaces and places, because this is a project about one man, one place. We want to show places. We started with doing spaces. when we did the schematic drawing and concept drawing. Now we are showing to show the place. Right? So you must do that. So when we have identified a place in our garden, what are the elements that you could be looking at? Softscape and hardscape, because these are the two elements that we work with. So softscape, for example, like lawn and grass, ground covers, tall shrubs, low shrubs, ornamental trees, shade trees, and etc. Hardscape, pavings, decking, pergola, shelter, lighting, pots and vases, and also trellis, and etc. and so on and so on. Right? So in other words, when you decide to, when you want to choose a place, make sure there is a combination of softscape and hardscape. But that doesn't mean you have to have all this here in one drawing or all this here in one sketch. No. Just make sure that there's an element of softscape and also elements of hardscape, a combination of them, right? For example, like here, this particular drawing here, right? So you can see the softscape and also the hardscape, the paving, the house, the door, the seating, the small table, the pottery here, the stone here, the grass here, whatever, right? So this is a nice combination, you know, of all the hardscape, most of the hardscape and the softscape, which you want to show. You have decided I want to take it. I want to take this place, and I want to show it from this angle. And also you got a kind of hanging swing here as well, right? So this particular artist decided that this is a nice place to show, right? So this is one example of what a 1 point. This is 1 point perspective where the point is somewhere at the back here. Right, like that. This is another one. This is another one, right? Something like that. So let's say someone says, "I want to show this particular water fountain here." You don't show the water fountain alone. Show the context. For example, what kind of paving is it laid on? What are the background planting it is with? So with this, you can have a nice drawing of a place, the whole picture here. Okay, or something like that. Right, a place. I don't want an element. The elements are still there. You can see steps here. You can see the house here. You can see the paving stones here. But you put all this hardscape and softscape together, it forms a very nice combination of elements, which forms a very, very nice place. Right? And similarly with this one here. Right? People like Madam Shiki can only spend only 10 minutes and she can draw this very, very quickly. This is a very professionally sketched drawing, isn't it? Very, very quickly done. Very quickly done. I think 10 minutes boleh share, insyaAllah. Tahu kan, mungkin? Very quick. Yeah. This was single line aja ni. Dia tak rendering sangat. Yeah? Very. You see, you look at the trees behind them. You draw one single flat
1 point perspective.
And then just this is my technique, my technique of rendering. You know what rendering is, everyone? You know what the word rendering means?
No.
You know what rendering is putting character to the drawing by using colors, texture, lines, for example. That's rendering. So in this case, for example, like this color is form of rendering. You see these lines here, for example. Susah nak tunjuk lah. Here. Yeah.
I think the next perspective tu dah nampak. Ada nampak.
For example, you see this grass here, all these little lines that you see here, this is called rendering. And all these little spots here on this paving here, this is called rendering. All this line here to show the wall, the concrete wall is rendering. For example, this particular shrub here, this round shrub here, all these little lines here that you see on this side of the shrub is called rendering. Making grass, putting texture on it is called rendering. That's what rendering is all about. That's what rendering means. It's to make things more livelier, more meaningful, more captivating, more alluring, right? More attentive, for example, right? More, and so on and so on. It's trying to make the whole thing looks a bit nicer, right? If you're using a coloring technique, if you do a lot of rendering, the color can be very, very simple to do. You just wash it with color. But if you use less rendering, right, then you have to use a lot of color, which can take a lot of time to do. Betul tak, Shikin?
Betul.
Yeah. Right. For example, like this particular shrub here, this round shrub here, the one here at the end. Can you see my cursor, everyone?
Yes.
So without all these black lines here, this little textured line here, then I have to use 3 or 4 colors, just to get the character like this here. But if I start rendering it with all these lines here, with little squiggy lines, I can just simply one color and I'll just wash it with green, and that's enough already. Very, very quickly. Right? So you can work both ways. Right? I'll show you another example here. This is a lot of rendering happening here. Lots of rendering happening here. Right? So you see, for example, like here, you can see this shrub here. Can you see this shrub here? This one here, below the tree here, everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
You see,
Yes.
the rendering is very little. But she had to use maybe 2 or 3 green colors to give the texture of the shrub. Right? But if she rendered it with lot of lines, maybe she can just use one color enough. But you can still see the different texture already. Because the lines, the black lines giving you that texture already. Color is just to give the overall impression of greenness. Understand?
Yes.
Actually, benda
Yes.
ni kalau kita lukis on live boleh, I think will be much more easier. But this is another technique of, this is what sometimes we call it economic graphic, right? In other words, even though in this particular frame here, there's furniture here and some trees here, because maybe she wants to want to focus only on the softscape, not on the furniture. Maybe the furniture, it doesn't look nice anyway. So just leave it as black and white, but focus only coloring the shrubs, the trees and the shrubs only. But don't worry about coloring the furniture. Also, you can do that. But you must be able to know how to decide why you leave it out, you know. Okay, this is one thing that I think most of you have, pergolas, for example. So this is how you draw a pergola, right? But the difference here, you can see here, both of these pergola, what's the difference between these two and the way it's drawn? This one and this one here. This one and this one here, the two on the right hand side, the two on the left hand side. What's the difference? What's the difference?
Their perspective.
Yeah, perspective. More specific.
2 and 1.
2 and 1. Okay. Another one. Eye level.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means the one on the left is like you are 30 feet tall, or you're looking from the top of a building, or you're looking from the top of a tree, isn't it? But the one on the right hand side is eye level, human eye level, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
so
like you're standing
Yeah, you're
in
standing,
front of
right? So in your case, choose the one on the right hand side, not the one on the top, right? Not left. But for your next project, you can do that, you know, because it's going to be because you have building around the space, around the site for the next project, right? That means you want to show something from the top. Okay, but here, no. Okay, so only focus on one level, 1 point perspective, only from not 1 point, one eye level, 1 point perspective, eye level. Okay, everyone? Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. And something like that. All right? This is quite nice, very simple. Yeah. People like Madam Shikin enjoy doing this. You know, Madam Shikin, she can draw. You give her, you know, a tin of rice, right? And ask her to put on a black plate. She can create a picture of using this rice with her fork and pen. I've seen her done that. Kadang-kadang kita kena tunjuk Shikin punya. Saya rasa tengok you buat makan dengan makanan dengan sos. Wow, cantiknya.
Itulah. It's just that I don't have time sekarang ni, sejak muda gitu.
I think maybe Shikin kena bagi apa Shikin, maybe one day kan, just one hour kan, just share.
On January 15 January.
Ada apa tu?
The class that we supposed to do talk.
Talk to my one.
Yes.
Okay. My one is 18 dan 8 January.
18 is different
Tak, saya punya 8 bulan.
8, okay.
Tapi but Madam Shikin is much more interesting than my talk, so better focus on Madam Shikin in your work, my talk, everyone. Okay, so something like that, you know. This is what I meant. You know, someone say that you have a pergola. Okay, you draw the pergola. The focus is on the pergola, but the pergola has context. All the shrubbery, the footpath, so the whole picture is a place. It's a place, but the focus is on the pergola. Don't just draw pergola alone, but whatever is next to it, whatever is in front of it, what is behind, on the left-hand side, and also what's behind it. Draw them all up. Right? And here the perspective says that, you see, this could be the same species of trees here, the one behind here and the one in the front here. But because the one is closer to you, this is a bit higher than the one behind you. But some people, because their choice of one-point perspective is so bad, they can actually, when they draw, you can actually see the top of the pergola. That's wrong. You are not 20 feet tall. From your point, normally, logically, when you draw the perspective, you can only see the bottom side of the shelter of the pergola, not the top, isn't it? True?
Yes.
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 So try to be sensible when you select your vanishing point or your eye level, right? So this is an example from maybe something like what you are doing, for example, like the garden, but it's looking from the top. It looks nice, isn't it? Because you want to do something. In other words, that doesn't mean you cannot. I'm saying that it doesn't mean that you cannot draw. You should not with eye level. With bird's eye perspective. Bird's eye means looking from the top. If you want to do that, you said I'm much more clever than any of my friends. I want to do something. Oh yeah, you go ahead. But I think you don't have the skill yet to do that. Maybe your last project you want to do that. You can, because with one point with eye level you can see the whole space. Like you're having a drone looking onto the sky. Not only can you see the plan level, but you can see the plan perspective of the garden itself. Right? You can see. So this is very, very kind of overall perspective of the place, not from an eye level, but from the bird's eye level. That means you're 40 feet tall, or you got a drone, or you're looking from the top of a building, or you climb from a tree, or something like that. Okay. So just to finish off the lecture, what I mean by rendering, for example, this is what we call rendering. You see this pen here. So she's looking, he or she here is using pencil to render the edge of this grass here, whatever it is. This is called rendering. You see this paving slabs here, paving stones here. She has used colors to render the texture or the texture and color of the stone here. So that's called rendering. The coloring of it is rendering. So she's using line of the color of the pencil to give that rendering effect. It's called rendering, right? All these lines here, all this is called rendering. In other words, you're trying to give a character, you're trying to give an impression, right? You're trying to give a certain quality to the drawing. That's what you do rendering. Because if there's no rendering, that means if there's no rendering, it's just a line around the shape, and that's all. There's no rendering at all, right? But here, she or he has drawn the texture of the surface of this place here. So that's one form of rendering. One step of rendering, and then he went to over the place, the drawing with colors. So you can see the texture, the yellow lines here. That forms the texture. That's another level of rendering. And then the color is another level of rendering, and so on and so on and so on. Right? When you have shrubs and trees for flowers, for example, sometimes you have to do 4 or 5 different colors, 4 different types of rendering to give you the impression of nature. You can also do that. Nature can be a bit difficult because nature tends to be because they catch the light, they catch the shadow, they have different texture, different colors, different shades of colors, and so very difficult. Okay, so for man-made elements like this footpath here, for example, can be easily done because it's only one color alone. Just relying upon the lines to give you the texture. You see, even without the color, you can see the texture already, isn't it? Everyone?
Yeah.
Yes. But Chidin, what's the color of the footpath? You put the color in by using yellow. But even by putting in the color, he or she also added lines to give it that little extra texture. Second level of texturing to each and every stone. Okay, everyone? So are you okay with that? This one is easy. I took this from Pinterest and so from many Google sites. Right? You can look up this one. I'll share this with you as well later on after this. Any questions, everyone? Okay.
Doctor,
yeah.
I have a question about the section plan, right? If I plan to build a wall around the around my garden. And for my side plan, the border, I need to thicker the border or
Yes. Either you do two parallel thick lines, right? But don't darken the one in between, or you can have the whole thing to be dark in black line. Tapi macam mana elok sikit?
Macam tu lah, the first one. The first one.
Sebab kalau hitam nampak macam solid sangat kan? So there are two thick lines parallel.
The outside line.
Okay, sure.
Alright.
Thank you.
Ini soalan pasal plan, bukan salah pasal perspektif. Jauh. Tapi dah tinggal lama dah.
Sorry, Jadi.
Tak apa, saja lawak je tu. Tak apa, no problem. Anything else here? You see people like Madam Shikin and a little bit myself, for example, find this part of the drawing, part of the work very, very enjoyable.
Yep.
So this is where you start beginning to realize, wow, this is what my plan looks like.
Yes.
Wow, this is what my section looks like. I didn't. Cik Din was not impressed with my plan. Cik Din was not impressed with my session, but I'm going to impress Cik Din and Madam Shikin with my perspective. Then you understand, wow, this is what the idea is all about. Because sometimes the perspective can really change a person's mind, you know, whether they like your work or not. Betul Shikin, kalau kerja.
Betul.
Because you see your clients sometimes they cannot read the plan, you know. They see what is so boring. They can only see session. What is this? They can't. When they store the perspective, wow. Okay, Shikin, go ahead. For example.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes some big companies they employ special artists to do perspectives, you know.
Yes. 3D rendering
No,
artists.
it's not free. They charge you a lot.
Yes.
Siapa tu nama seorang siapa ni? Ada seorang student ni.
Jumaite or
Jumaite student kita dulu ni. Siapa nama dia ni?
Siapa
Ada, dia memang dia.
Oh, ni siapa yang sakit tu ke sekarang?
Najib.
Oh, Najib. Okey.
Najib sakit?
Tak orang lain silap.
Orang lain ya? Najib, wow, he's one of our earlier students. She's now not practicing in landscape, but she's just doing on presentation drawing.
Until now.
You know?
Just do the concept drawing only.
Yes, and pay thousands and thousands, much kerja senang tu. Tak ada liability langsung tu.
Betul.
Okay guys, I want to go to the next series of lecture for you. Everyone okay? All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'll share. I'll unshare this.
So after the section next week, they need to produce the perspective lah, 1 point perspective.
Thursday. Next week dah submit.
Thursday. Okay.
Just two minimum is okay already. Everyone, just two is enough. Okay, don't have to do too much. All right, so I'm going to share you another task for you to hang on. Share window. This one is very straightforward actually, very straightforward, but it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. So so you have to draw perspective, minimum of 2, coming Thursday, and you also have to prepare a landscape palette, right? What is a landscape palette? A palette is like a board that shows all the things that you are suggesting or proposing in your design, both the hardscape and also both the softscape. Okay, guys. Okay, I'll show you one example there. So this is one example of a planting palette, something like this. Basically, it's showing a visual picture of the actual plant that you are using. You can take this with your camera, or you just Google it down and download it. Also, you can do that. And maybe you divide the plant into the shrubs and grasses categories or herbaceous ground cover categories. Because this is a Western way of categorization. In your case, you may say, for example, like palms, for example, or just simply shrubs, for example. Right? You can do that. Okay? Very clear, very straightforward, everyone. You can also do some explanation as to why you choose this purple or yellow trees or plants also. You can do that also further. Right? Some people just put the botanical name and common name, and that's it. But some people make the effort by explaining why they choose this plant. How does it reflect the so-called contemporary Japanese concept, and so on and so on. Okay, you can do that. So it's up to you. It's up to you. Right? Or like this. This one has got no explanation at all. It's just they give you the categorization only. For woodland, hillside, perennial garden, bird and butterfly garden, right? Okay, this one is a combination. I think for you, I think Shikin and Hana, I think in their case, mungkin they don't have to use separately. I don't think they have many things to show, isn't it?
Betul. Sikit je.
Right? So you can do this in one drawing and you can mix
Do
them.
in one drawing will be good enough lah.
Yeah, good enough actually. Everyone, okay?
Because the park is the garden is small.
Very small, yeah. So you can have a planting palette or softscape palette and then a hardscape palette.
Yes.
Just one. Okay, everyone. Okay, everyone.
Okay.
This should not take you more than 2 hours to do this. Download. And you cut it out and paste it and put it on your drawing. But make sure you have a good result as to why it is you have chosen that. So this is another format of doing the same thing. You mix the hardscape and the softscape like this here. Okay. But this one has got a kind of special. Yes, they have a special name, also botanical name, but not so much the explanation. This is another example of that. Right. Okay, some people, they like to categorize their palette not based on just simply palms, shrubs, and trees. Right? They go for a special categorization. For example, like something which is historic, right, or something which is industrial and cultural. For example, in your case, for example, you may say, I have the category of fragrant plants that smells good. Right. So, but when you put the picture, it could be a combination of trees, shrubs, and grass. You understand, everyone?
Yes.
Right. So it depends on what categorization. For example, like the Japanese, for example, you may say that minimalist plants. Yeah, I'm just saying this. Minimalist plant, minimalist. So it could be a combination of various type of trees, shrubs, or grass, or even minimalist form of hardscape. It could be a combination of stone, furniture, pergola, whatever it is. Right? So it depends on you. Right? Because you know your design better than me, what you want to show. But so usually the most simplest form of categorization is just simply like for example, like softscape will be grass, shrubs, trees, and palms. It seems like the person just simply selected the plant based on that categorization, which is very, very, well, not too creative, isn't it, in terms of the selection of the plant. But some people say they have, for example, they said broadleaf plants, leaves which are big, broad, B-R-O-D-A-D, broadleaf. Or some people call it architectural leaf plants. So it's a different categorization. In other words, the plant has got no flowers at all. It's just simply relying on the size of the leaves. So they call it architectural plants or broadleaf plants. Right, so different category. It all depends on you, on your concept. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
All right. Okay, no questions here. Okay, my final thing that I want to share with you is this one here. Don't worry, that it's not going to be too much work actually. All these things. I'll wait a minute. Oh, this one. So can you see this one here, everyone?
Yes.
Right. So in other words, up until the planting palette and hardscape palette, you are required to submit your your site plan, your sections, and also your perspective, and also your planting palette and hardscape palette. All right? Okay, so far, and sections, of course, sections. Right? Okay, clear, everyone?
Clear.
Okay, Cik Din.
However, there's one extra thing that also I would like you to do, right? But don't worry, this is quite straightforward actually. On one single piece of paper, we would like you to come up with draw your concept plan, which you already done right? So this is in other words, because we need to have something which says, when people read your drawing, they say, okay, what is this all about? So this is an example of a concept plan, right? For example, something like that. on a single piece of paper. Can you
Yeah,
do
so
this, everyone?
This is concept plan actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
concept plan. Okay, on the side, we put all the spaces in. Right, something like that. And then you have some explanation. This is my handwriting actually for this particular student. Huh? Right? You do some explanation. For example, like this one here. Right? This is a design. This is a bubble design concept. This is not the concept plan, but this
bubble
this
diagram.
Is bubble diagram. You can also put this one also in the concept sheet if you have space. If you don't, just go straight into this one here. Okay, depending on how big your drawing is, right? And then put some explanation as well. But don't forget what is your concept. Modern, contemporary, tropical, Japanese, whatever it is, right? That concept, right? Or something like that. Something like that. On one single piece of paper. But do not forget your title block. Every single page should have the same consistent title block or something like that. Something like that. Not a schematic, but something like that. Okay. This is from my past year student, second semester, or something like that. All these purple line are my comments of their submission. Right? But don't worry about that one. But just something for you, enough for you to draw this one up and do some explanation is enough already. Okay? Or something like that. Right? Shouldn't take you more than 2 hours to do this one here. Right? Concept plan or concept sheet. They call it concept sheet. Okay? Like this. This is the site plan. This is the final. This is not concept. This is the master plan, right? Okay, that's it. Any questions?
Yes. So, for all of these, do we need to color it or just black and white?
Which one?
The concept.
For the site plan section.
Yeah, all have to be colored.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about for this concept
Yeah.
plan? Do we have to
Up
color
to you.
it too?
That one is up to you.
You have to color. I think color better, but
Okay, color.
for the rest, color better.
Okay.
But the color is just basically to show the difference in
Yes, the differentiate
graphics.
between
This is
zone.
the graphics. This is the graphics. Okay. All right, guys. So that's why I and Dr. Hannah have decided that we are not going to ask you to do your isometric, because if I ask you to do that, it will go, and the very least is going to take you 1 whole day to do that, morning till evening, because you're going to be struggling trying to use the we call it the set square, for example. Even that's going to be struggling for you. Let alone trying to figure out what to draw, how to draw, what's 45 degrees, so many things to make. It's very complex. That's why I and Dr. Hannah say, okay, we leave this particular task for the next project. But for here, we go for the very basic one. Because with the isometric and the perspective, they are very much the same actually. They're trying to give a 3D impression actually.
Right.
But with the isometric, it's a bit more technical. But perspective is a bit more, a bit more relaxed, a bit more appealing in terms of the way it's drawn, as opposed to isometric or isometric drawing. I think some of you maybe have learned isometric at school, haven't you? Especially those who have done, I think engineering drawing or technical drawing? Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah, siapa tu? Who said that?
Nafisa.
Nafisa ada belajar?
Ada.
Isometric ada belajar kan?
Ada.
Sana pakai berapa degree punya isometric?
30.
30, 60? Okay. Dah tahu dah. Nanti bagi talk pada dia orang ni, student ni, kawan-kawan ni. Ada lawak je. Okay. So anything, anyone else? Okay, guys. Any questions? No? Yes? I'll send this to our group. I'll send this to everyone.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Hannah, you want to add anything, Dr. Hannah, or Madam Shikin?
Tak ada.
Tak ada.
Tak ada.
But if let's say they have question, they will come to us.
Yalah. Okay.
So for next